I've had to listen to how America is a systemically racist nation run by white supremacists who will never see me as nothing more than a black body. I never bought into any of that, and that is why I'm most thankful on this 4th of July. Hello, America. I'm Pastor Corey Brooks. From the south side of Chicago to the nation's capital, this is Rooftop Revelations. Many of you know me as the Rooftop Pastor. I recently spent 343 days living on top of a roof through Chicago's cold and heat to bring awareness to the violence and to raise money for this much-needed community center that you see being built behind me. And because of the many donations from Americans just like yourself, we are raising the needed funds for this glorious leadership and economic community center. We aim nothing less than the full transformation of Chicago's most violent block, O Block, into Opportunity Block. Here we discuss issues, local to national, from the streets to the Capitol. For you who have been on the journey with us, welcome back. And if this is your first time watching Rooftop Revelations, we're glad you're joining us for this latest edition of Rooftop Revelation. On this 4th of July, I've come to a simple realization. I never doubted my freedom as an American, never once. I always knew I was as free as any other American, no matter their color. This may not seem to be a significant realization, but when I look back on my life, I can see all the negative forces that tried to make me doubt myself as an American. There were individuals who tried to plant the seed in my head that I should always be angry at America for enslaving and segregating my ancestors. When I was young, certain individuals told me I was a fool trying to live in a white man's America where freedom was for only the whites. Even the last dozen years, from Trayvon Martin to George Floyd, I've had to listen to how America is a systemically racist nation run by white supremacists who will never see me as nothing more than a black body. I never bought into any of that, and that is why I'm most thankful on this 4th of July. My steadfast belief in America, in her principles and her promise, did not begin in Chicago, where I pastor one of America's toughest neighborhoods. I grew up in Indiana with my mom, and when the 4th of July came around, we would travel south to a small Tennessee town named Kenton. About 1,000 people lived there, and my grandfather was one of them. What I loved most about those visits was how he made sure the 4th was celebrated in a big way with family and friends. There were people everywhere. It was such a welcoming and loving community. Sometimes we kids would go looking for one of Kenton's famous white squirrels, and there was food everywhere. I never went hungry. When night came, we'd all gather for some of the best fireworks over the trees, over the town. But what I remember the most was how my grandfather would wake up in the morning talking about how great America was. This was a man who lived a major part of his life under segregation and who had every reason to be bitter, yet he loved America. And the way he talked about America was so infectious. He would look me in the eye and ask me, what did I want to be growing up? Then he would tell me that I could be anything I wanted to be. There were absolutely no limits. But he did tell me over and over that I would have to work for it. Nothing's free in America, but you have the freedom to work your way into anything you want to be. He walked the talk like no other. He only had a 4th grade education, but he worked every day of his life. He had a lawn care business, and when he would ride around town, he'd proudly point out the perfectly manicured lawns he took care of. He also bred bloodhounds, some of the best in the South. The man just worked, and he didn't know himself without any work. My grandfather raised a family in his house, 4 boys and 4 girls, including my mother. He always provided and never came up short. He gave them all the best chances to make something out of themselves in America. The one thing that I noted as a youngster was how people around this small town respected my grandfather. Black people and white people. They all called him Mr. RB. It made me proud to stand next to him. My grandfather is no longer with us, nor is my mother, but I always carry their pride and a love for America with me. I preach her virtues every day in my community, and like my grandfather did with me, I ask the young people when they grow up, what do they want to be? What is their American dream? It is true what they say about America and her dream being an idea. It really is all so fragile, so susceptible to bad faith, especially in my neighborhood. That is why I see it as my duty to honor my grandfather by keeping the soul of America alive in the streets every day. And that is why I so proudly celebrate the 4th of July and the greatest country to ever exist. This has been another Rooftop Revelation. God bless you, and God bless America.